Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Social Media Ninja. And I intend to turn you into social media ninjas within the next 45 minutes. So let me start with a quick story. You'll see our diamond here. This takes place on a farm one day. A fella's out working on his farm, and a traveler comes by, and they start chatting out on the road. And the traveler tells the farmer about this great opportunity in South Africa where people are going and finding diamonds and becoming millionaires. So the farmer says, that's what I have to do. He sells his farm, he moves to South Africa, he becomes a diamond miner and fails miserably and dies in South Africa with no success or luck. Now, back at the farm, the fellow who bought the farm, he was working out in the field and watering his mule, and he notices in the stream that there's a very clear piece of glass, and he picks it up and it has a special sheen to it. So he brings it home and he cleans it up, and he puts it on the mantle. And then one day, those same travelers who met the first farmer, they meet the second farmer, and they get to talking, and the farmer says, come on in for lunch. And when the travelers walk into his house, they notice this stone on the mantle. And they said, my goodness, do you notice that that's the biggest diamond I've ever seen? Where did you find that? And the farmer says, well, let me show you. And he takes them out into the backyard in the stream, and they notice there's more diamonds in the stream and diamonds all over the ground there. And the point is that sometimes you have diamonds right here in your backyard. So I'm going to talk about how you can find those diamonds that you already have. And who are we? Well, we talked about John. John is a creative genius, in my opinion. And he covers marketing, advertising, websites, web design, sales, and marketing. And John?
I love introducing Ed because if you've ever seen The Wizard of Oz, he's the man behind the curtain. So when we do web work together, when we do social media work together, you know, we're brainstorming, we're coming up with these creative ideas, and he's the guy behind the curtain, moving all the pixels and connections and everything. So Ed is also a genius of his own set. But he also teaches at the college, social media. He's an asset. He's one of the people that knows, I think, more than 99% of the population on websites, social media, and design. So that's why I use Ed and his firm, and we work in tandem together when we create websites.
Well, I hate to interrupt you. I really do. He's telling you some great stuff. So here's what we're going to cover. We're going to talk about an overall broad view of the internet and how internet marketing works for small business. So you can see where social media fits in. I also have a saying that you need to do more than you're doing now, but not as much as you think you have to. Because a lot of people, when I mention internet marketing, they go, oh, yes, I know I have to do something about that. So, and the reason why they don't is they think they have to do so much, but you don't. There's just only a few things they have to do. We'll be talking about how do you attract potential clients with relevant, valuable information. And I'm going to show you something that one of my clients is doing, and he's attracting thousands and thousands of people to his site. We're going to talk about your must-have, your should-have, and your could-have of social media. You don't need everything, but there are some things that you do need. And finally, I'll talk about Google Analytics. Basically, how do you measure what's coming to your site and what they're looking at? So we'll cover that. So let's start with the internet pathway for small business. I'll let John talk about that.
It used to be in the days of old, you had outbound marketing. And outbound marketing meant that you would go to a trade show and hope that people would come to you. Or you would send out direct mail and you're sending it out blind. And with the advent of the internet, inbound marketing means if there's a problem or a situation or an issue, they Google it, and the goal is to be right there answering the question, issue, or problem that they're having right there at that exact moment. So today, through everything we're going to show you, we're going to try to show you and elevate you to that number one position. That's basically inbound marketing, but you also have to look at everything else that you're putting together in your marketing program. Direct mail, print ads, trade shows, networking, and then come up with a consistent brand message.
Okay, so let me talk a little bit about the pathway and how internet marketing works for small business. Now, one of the things that I find constantly is when people find out what I do, which is internet marketing consulting, their first question is, tell me how Facebook works. How do I get customers from Facebook? Or what is this Twitter thing? I need to get involved with Twitter. And my question to them is, okay, we can get involved with that, but who's your market? And they get a quizzical look, and they say, well, everybody's my market. And I say, well, that's potentially true, but it's really expensive to market to everybody. And you may know that because people have tried. So what I usually recommend is that with the pathway to internet marketing, you first identify your market. And I have a couple of criteria. First is pick the people who are most able to purchase your products and services. Then pick the people who need and want your products and services. And finally, who do you like to work with? Why not pick the people who you like to work with? So a lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs get into business for more control. So choose your target market first. Then once you have your target market, you can then hone your messages for that specific target market. And then you can hone your products and services for that particular target market. Once you've done that, you take all of that information and you put it onto your website, which is now actually your virtual storefront. Now, almost 90% of all business is done first on Google. People Google you before they do business, and then they do research, and then they go out and do business with companies. So websites are virtual storefronts, and I recommend you get a blog-powered website, because a blog-powered website will allow you to create content, which is pages and blog posts and videos, without having any technical expertise at all. You know how to use Microsoft Word? Then you'll be able to use a blog-powered website, because it's like publishing to the internet instead of publishing to a printer. Now, once you have your content, your pages, your posts, and your videos, then what you're going to do is you're going to distribute that content out to all of those social media channels. So this is the fundamental distinction that I have in marketing, is that social media is not marketing. Social media are just distribution channels. Marketing is figuring out who your market is and what your products and services are, and then putting it in a place where people can find it. But then once you have that, then you distribute it out to all of your social media channels. There's no use for getting involved in social media if you don't have these other items in place. Because otherwise it becomes noise and a waste of time. And that becomes your pathway. And what's also great is that once you have these other items, fundamental items in place, you can automate the publishing of your messages out to those social media channels. You can either use an outside service or a plugin, and once you publish something, it'll automatically send it to Facebook or LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube. John's going to show you one of our clients and what they're doing a little later with that. So let me move on to what you need to do more of than you're doing now, but believe me, it's not as much as you think you have to. Okay, so, John?
This is one of our clients, CAI Services, and I see Gabe is in the room. Thanks, Gabe, for letting me use your website to teach people. Basically, when you're doing a website, when Ed and I start the process, we understand the first thing you have to do is you have to design a great website. It has to look great, it has to function great, it has to have all the social media components. The second thing is it has to be mobile responsive. It has to be able to see what device is looking at it. It's going to turn to your screen, whether you're on a laptop, a widescreen, you need it to respond to the size and shape of the device people are working with.
Yeah, we're finding about 50% of the traffic we're now getting is through mobile devices, tablets and cell phones. Yeah.
Facebook and Twitter. This will be on our must-haves list. But Google basically says only real businesses have Facebook and Twitter. And if you don't have Facebook and Twitter, you're not a real business. So we're going to push you to page 2 or page 3, because I guarantee the people who are on page 1 have Facebook and Twitter. A blog. I don't even know. Does everybody know what a blog is?
Yeah.
A blog is basically an additional page to your website. If you have a 12-page website and you do one blog a week, in 1 year you'll have 52 more pages to your website. So it's content, it's content. You with the most content wins. A lesson in blogging and posting. Ed is the king of blogging. There's a correct way to blog. It has to be the right size. It has to be optimized. It has to have the right amount of headline words. It has to be the right words. The words in the headline have to meet the words that are in the copy. There's so many different variables, but when we work with Gabe and we train clients to know these things, it makes it very easy for them. Analytics. You may be plugged into Google Analytics. You may even be getting a report But unless you're prolific at reading and understanding the report, and Ed is going to treat us, he's actually going to show some Google Analytic reports and show us what to look for and what's most important. Lead capture form. When people come to your website, they want to do something. They want to do something, engage, socialize, register, like, friend, share. Give them that opportunity. Give them the opportunity to contact you and give them a lead capture form. You want to capture their email address. Content strategy. You have to have a content strategy. Every business is different. You have to have a marketing expert work with you for your content strategy. And optimize content. Very important. Very, very important to optimize your content, which is SEO. And that creates what I call the circle of life. What makes people appear #1 spot on Google organically? What is that secret? What is the secret? The secret is they have a website and they're putting out content and they're blogging and they're posting on Facebook and they're smart enough to be on Google Plus and Google Maps. They have call to actions, they have videos, they have SEO, landing pages, and all of that acts like a spoke of a wheel. Because just a website can only churn so much traffic. Once you plug and play all these other spokes to the wheel, it supercharges the engine and tells Google, okay, these people are putting out valuable content. We better push them up to page 1.
Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about, this is a search result page. And if you're looking for something and you put in a keyword into Google, this is usually the type of page that comes up. And what we have here in the red bands are advertising. Now most people recognize this as advertising and recognize the links below it as what's called organic. So most people will click on the organic because we already know this is advertising. Who wants to click on advertising? Although that's still, paid advertising is effective, most people will click on the organic links. So the goal is to try and get your link here onto the first page of Google. And I'm going to show you some ways you can do that. So the first thing you need to do is to find out what your keywords are, or what keywords are people using to find the products and services that you actually offer. Google has a tool to help you do that. And this is some of the results of that tool, is you can put in a couple of your keywords that you think people will be using for your products and service. And then Google will spit out a report that shows, well, in addition to those keywords, here's what else people use. And this is useful because I had a client who had a used office furniture business. And he wanted to set up a website that used the keyword pre-owned office furniture. And I said, Ralph, I don't think a lot of people actually use the keyword for pre-owned office furniture. He said, well, I don't like the word used. I really don't.
He thought pre-owned was a sexier word than the word used furniture.
Sure, it sounds nicer, but what do people actually do? So rather than argue with Ralph, I did a Google keyword search with their tool, and I said, let's compare pre-owned office furniture to used office furniture and see how many people are looking for what. Well, pre-owned office furniture got about 60 searches per month, and used office furniture got 5,000. So the argument ended there, and now you can find Ralph's products at usedofficefurniture.newjersey.com.
We had another circumstance where we were doing a website for an active adult community, a home builder in New Jersey, and we were stuck on active adult, active adult, active adult. So we asked Google, what else do people actually search for? Well, retirement communities and 55 plus were the 2 top searches. And we're so trained to talk the way we want to talk, it doesn't mean that people are really searching what we think they're searching. So we let Google tell us what our keywords are and what we should be looking for your business.
Yeah, so the data is there. Google will share it with you. And once you've discovered what are the most likely keywords that people will use for my products and services, you then take those keywords and you use it in the pages of your website, and you use it for the articles that you're going to write for your blog posts. And let me talk a little bit about, let me have John talk about Marketing Grader.
Yeah, I just want to say that this is a great tool, and if you have a website, you should do this. You go to marketinggrader.com, You put in the URL. You have to type in www and whatever the name of the company is, and then .com. And then you hit go. And it's going to give you a score from 0 to 100. This particular website scored 43. What does that mean? That means they're in 40. It needs some stuff. And you want to score hopefully in the 70s and 80s, okay? But what's great about this website, and this is the most important tool, and there's many like this, but this is one of the things that you can take home with you and really learn something from. You could do this with your competition and see what their score is. You can learn your score, and you can say, okay, what are the things I'm doing right, and what are the things I'm doing wrong? It tells you, step by step by step, that if you're on social media, if you're posting enough, if you're blogging enough, it'll tell you what's right and what's wrong. And Ed and I often, when we have an intro meeting with the client, we'll use this as a starting point.
Yeah, for the most part, this will tell you in plain language what you need to do. Although sometimes people still say, well, I'm not clear on these terms, what are they telling us? So we help translate for you. So great tool.
Geek to English.
Yes, geek to English. Okay, so what factors do you attribute to lead increase? John, I'll let you talk to that.
You know, lead generation is something that we're focused on. You know, when people come to your website, they want to do something. They want to contact you. They want to chat. They want to connect. They want to share. They want to do something. What is the number one thing that increases your lead generation? And it is landing pages and calls to action. That is the number one thing people are looking for. That makes the website sticky.
Just to clarify, landing page is a page written specifically for a particular product and nothing else. So if you were selling landscaping services and lawn cutting, then that page would be devoted to lawn cutting. And a call to action is just telling people what to do when they get to the page. Contact us, download this free ebook, give us a call. So that works.
The number two thing is blogging. And like we said before, the importance of blogging is to take each of your individual services. And I know Ben's here, and I know he has a pool company and a pool service. And I keep emailing him and saying, why is my pool turning green? And then I email him and I say, well, you know, I want to open up my pool. What are the 10 steps to opening up a great pool? And then I'll email him and I'll say, I'm closing my pool. What are the do's and don'ts? And what I'm doing is I'm just filling his head with, well, if I'm going through this during my pool cycle in central New Jersey, there's thousands of other people that are going through the same exact thing at the same exact moment, and they're Googling it. And if he posts it at that moment, that's when they're going to see it. That's the critical point. That's marketing. Go ahead.
Okay, so let's talk about the website. And this is our client, Rescom, is doing very well with their website. And I'm going to show you how to attract clients with relevant, valuable information. I find one of the main reasons people come to websites is they have problems, and they're looking to get those problems solved. They also may have passions, or they may be looking for a deal. The number one reason why people are on the internet is they want some sort of solution to a problem. So here what I'm showing you is a very detailed analytic page. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill down into one specific part of this page. This is Google Analytics. Google Analytics is free, by the way, and I'll talk more about that shortly. And this is a page that says how many people are coming to my site. Now, I picked this page from my client. This is my client Stu's, from Stu's Easy Auto Remotes. And my client Stu came to me about 2 years ago, and I said, auto remotes? Who makes money with auto remotes? That's the little key fob you have on your keychain. Well, at the time, Stu was selling key fobs on eBay. But eBay's not a very friendly platform, so he wanted to move to a brick and mortar and open up a website. So 2 years ago, Stu had no web presence. This is a analytics from just last month. And last month, Stu pulled in 12,809 visitors to his website. Between the new ones and the returning visitors, 11,282 of them were new people. Who can use 11,000 new customers? Now,
in 1 month.
Now, I'll put a caveat on this. A lot of the people came to his site, looked at one thing, and left. So he has what's called a bounce rate. A bounce rate is how many people come to the site and then leave. He has a very high bounce rate, but that's okay because a whole bunch of them did stay. So out of the 11,000 that came, 1,000 of them stayed and looked at his products and services and bought them. So he was very happy with that. And so let me take a look at where did they come from. This is an analytics page that tells you here's where they're coming from. Now, the top number of people who came to his site were attracted to his site by what he's doing. And I'm going to show you shortly what he's doing so that you can do the same. 65% of his traffic was attracted to his site. That's directed. After that, 31% were achieved because people were looking for something that he was offering, his key fobs and other services. So 30% he was found on the internet through organic traffic. Then he pays for advertising as well. There's specific services that he wants on the first page, so he paid for that. After that, he got referrals from different types of other sites that had his link on it. He also pays for display ads. And then he had some traffic from social media. Now, some people will say, wow, that's not an awful lot of traffic from social media. Well, that's okay. Social media is not for promotion. Social media is for relationship building. And the people that are coming to his site from social media already have a relationship with him and are leaving him testimonials and are happy. But basically, almost 90% of his traffic is traffic that was attracted to his site or found on Google. And none of that is anything he's paying for. That's all free. So what is Stu doing to attract all this traffic? Well, here is a Google report that says, what are they looking at when they come to my site? Rank the top 10 pages that are attracting people to my site. Well, the top 3 pages that attract people to his site are blog posts. They're blog posts that I wrote about 2 years ago. And the top post here is an article that says, ignition won't turn key. Several reasons why this happens. So 6,000 people over the past month had that problem. Now his site is on the internet, and the internet is international, so this is all over the United States. However, people, when their key was stuck, they pulled out their cell phone, and they said, my key is stuck in the ignition. How do I get it out? His article was the first thing that came up. And then they clicked on that link. His article is on his site. They read the article, and many of them, as you can see, read the article and left. 90% of them, got what I needed and left. But 10% of them stayed. That means 600 people stayed and looked at his products and services. Now the next article that attracted people was similar. Key stuck in the lock, 3 ways to remove it. Stu says that 90% of the people who put their key in the lock and it gets stuck, they continue to force it until the key breaks, which he says is fine for me. Then I'll replace the key. But 3,000 people got their key stuck in the ignition and sought help and found it at Stu's site. The third article he wrote was instrument cluster, what to do when they don't work. That means when your speedometer stops working or your gas gauge is no longer working. Well, he fixes those things. 3,000 people had that problem last month and came to his site. So I'd say, 12,499 visitors were attracted to Stu's site because of 3 blog posts that he wrote 2 years ago. So it's just amazing. Now also, they did come to his homepage because they had heard about him and his products and services. They also were looking for his products, which were remote start installation, remotes and keys, auto locksmith. And they also went to his contact page because they wanted to see where he was located. But there were 2 other articles that brought people. So almost 90% of his traffic was through blog posting. And that's what I recommend you need to do to attract people to your site. Give people relevant, valuable information that can solve their problems, and they will come, and they will stay and look at your products and services. And it will be free. Okay. So,
and I just want to say that the more people that come, Google keeps serving it up. So those numbers a year ago were half those numbers, but because people are having that same key lock problem and the problems are being solved, Google is rewarding that website by serving up more people. So once you get on that train, it keeps flowing.
Yeah, the 2 benefits are not only is he getting more business, he's getting better ranking because Google is saying, my goodness, look at all the traffic that this authority is getting. This person must be somebody that is valuable, so we're going to serve him up to more people. So social media, here's the must-have, the should-have, and the could-have. Okay, what must you have? You must have a Facebook business page. And the reason is Google doesn't think that you're serious about marketing if you don't have a Facebook business page. Now also, it's a very effective community building channel. So you build relationships with Facebook. People love Facebook. It's easy. They're familiar with it. And it's easy to get involved with. And oh, by the way, it's free. Also Twitter. Now a lot of people don't understand Twitter, but Twitter, once you get involved with, it's a very easy learning curve. Google also doesn't think you're serious if you're not involved with Twitter. And it is a very effective communication channel. It's different from community building. Twitter helps you get the word out very quickly to the people who follow you. And also, it's free. Now, what should you also have? Well, I think you should also have a Google Plus account, because it provides additional services which are very useful for small businesses, especially the small businesses that have a brick and mortar presence. You can get something called Google My Business, which will allow you to place your business on a Google map and then put pictures and videos. It's a very, very nice service. It is basically replacing Yellow Pages. So Google Plus is a good tool. It still has a lot of untapped potential as a social media channel. And oh, by the way, it is free. And Instagram. Instagram is one of these newer social media tools. And what it is you take a picture and it sends it to Instagram where people can comment on the picture. So it is very, very easy to use. Everybody has smartphones now, takes pictures with their smartphones. Now you have a place to send those pictures, and those pictures can be team events or products and service messages. And it's a very visual communication tool. 70% of Americans are visual. They like getting their information visually. And that's why we have YouTube and so many visual aspects of communication. And oh, by the way, it's free. And finally, what you could have as another channel is YouTube. YouTube is, it's interesting, it's the second largest search engine after Google. There are a lot of people who won't even go to Google to search for something. They just go to YouTube because there's a video on there that'll show you how things are done. And it will help with search engine ranking because guess what? YouTube is owned by Google.
Yeah.
So they like serving up videos as well. And sells for you 24/7. It is a reliable salesperson that doesn't bang out on you, never quits, and is always there.
Doesn't call in sick.
Nope. Oh, and by the way, did I mention? It's free. All right. So over 3 billion videos are viewed on YouTube every day. So it is that visual tool which can help tell a story and do it in a very cost-effective way. So many of these social media elements or channels that I'm talking about, they're the diamonds that are right there below your feet. All you have to do is do a little bit more and go pick them up and use them. And you don't have to use them all. Just get started with Facebook and Twitter, and then eventually you can add the others, and then you can automate the whole thing. So let me talk a little bit about Google Analytics. Google Analytics gives you actionable data. And there is a saying that if you don't monitor and measure, you can't manage something. And if you're not managing something, your results are going to be very unpredictable. Prior to the internet and all of this measurement, when you did a media campaign, the only measurement that you could rely on was whether the phone rang or not. And you would hope that it would ring. And hope is a very bad strategy. So this is a quote by W. Edwards Deming, who was a pioneer for quality. He said, measure if you want to see results. So Google Analytics does 3 things. It gives you critical data, or first, how many people are visiting your site. And it's a good thing to know, because the more you see, the better it gets. Also, it tells you where they're coming from. Are they coming from search engines, referrals, advertising? And best of all, and this is the most critical data, what are they looking for? Are they looking at blog posts? Are they looking at your landing pages? Is the contact information available? So if you find that people are looking at certain things, you do more of those things. If they're not looking at certain things, you do less of that. It's actionable data that you can get daily if you want, or even real life. You can log into your dashboard and actually see the traffic coming in.
We often see website spikes. So you'll get 30 people, 30 people, 30 people, 60, 70, 80, and you're like, where did all these people come from? And then you realize, oh, I posted a blog, and I put it on LinkedIn, and I put it on Facebook, and all these people saw it, clicked on it, went to the website, and all of a sudden you see your traffic spiking for 3 or 4 days. And then you're like, okay, I gotta do another blog.
Okay, so now, if you're not already using Google Analytics, please have your webmaster install it, because did I mention that it is free? It's the only tool that monitors and measures what's actually happening. And wouldn't you want to know what's actually happening with your marketing on your website? Okay, so John, talk a little bit about automation. I've talked about that.
Before, the internet is getting easier and easier and easier, and the tools that are coming out every day are making it easier for us. Before, you had to be a rocket scientist, you had to be a marketing director, you had to be an internet guru person. Now, everything's automated. KitCon is one of our clients, and when we did their site for them, we hooked their blog and automated it. So what happens is when we post a blog, you can see they're talking about a seminar that they're going to do, and it automatically posts.
Here it is on Facebook.
And then all of a sudden it appears on Facebook.
And there's Twitter.
And Twitter.
So they push the publish button, and it just goes out automatically to everything. So they don't have to put it here, and then put it here, and put it here, which is time-consuming, tedious, and why people don't do it, because that's what they think they have to do. But you don't. You have to do more than what you're doing now, but not as much as you think you have to. So, 9 steps? Okay. Here are some next steps for you to being found. First, please define your market. If you haven't done it yet, sit down and over the course of a couple of hours, figure out who's the best person who has the money to purchase my products and services. Who is it that needs and wants my products and services, and who do I like to work with? But once you've figured that out, then redefine your messages for those markets. So if you're finding you're pulling most of your money, your revenue from 2 or 3 specific marketing sources, then start refining your messages for those marketing sources. Update your website with that information. So get your keywords, refine your messages. If you need an update of your website, do so, please.
Yeah, and Google loves when you update your website. They want more content. They want you to change photos. They want you to update copy. It makes them come back and look at it again and again and again. And the more times you change it, the more they have to keep coming and looking at it.
Now also research your keywords. There is a tool on Google called the Google Geek Keyword Tool. And if you Google it, you will have to have a Google account in order to use it, but it's a very useful tool. Lots of YouTube videos on how to do that. Then once you've discovered your keywords, conduct a marketing grader analysis. Go on to marketinggrader.com and see what that tells you. How do you stack up? What's your report card on that? And they'll tell you what else you need to do to improve that score. Then start posting valuable, relevant content to attract people to your site. Help solve their problems. Help feed their passions. And they will come to you. Set up Google Analytics. Don't you want to know what's going on? Don't you want to monitor and measure so you can manage and get predictable results?
The main reason you manage and monitor and measure is because when you're posting and you're tweeting and you're doing all your social media, you're going to see the spikes. So when you see big spikes, you want to do more of those type of posts. And when you see less spikes, you want to do less of those kinds of posts.
Okay, set up your Facebook and your Twitter accounts. It's really simple. If you have young people somewhere, they can help you with it. They're already there.
Anyone under 30 is perfectly suited.
And then once you have those in place, automate it. Don't spend all the time. You don't have to spend. Actually, my business owners are trying to run a business. They're not marketers or social media people. They want it done. Okay, so that's your next steps. Now, you mentioned if you do want a copy of this slide deck, we'll be happy to send it to you. Just leave a copy with your business card with us, or come visit us at our booth, booth 112, or over on the left-hand side there. And so while we don't have too much time left, we have a couple of minutes for questions, so we're opening it to the floor. Yes, ma'am.
I have a site that we have kind of like a little competition sites in our area in the Chamber of Commerce and Association, and they're telling us that we should buy likes. Is this something
No.
that you recommend?
Yeah, the question is, I have some competitors, I'm getting information that we should buy likes. I don't recommend that you buy likes. You can attract likes by posting relevant, valuable information. If you have tips that you can offer, or you have coupons you can send to people, or if there's interesting story that helps solve problems for people, post that. People like that, and that's when they'll like it.
Google has gotten very smart, and they can see through that. And if you're not posting content and you're just buying likes, when you're posting something, it's going to people who aren't going to be responding. So that's something that may have worked 5 years ago. I don't recommend doing that.
Yeah, the question is, so who are these people who are liking mine? They're people who are looking for information that can solve their problems. If you post a tip onto Facebook, and that tip actually solves somebody's problem, and they're looking on the internet for a solution, they will find that tip, they will read it, and then they will like it. What other questions do you have? Yes, Gabe.
You said automated. Does that mean when you blog something, it goes to all 3 or 4 different categories?
Correct. When you push the publish button, that there is either something built into your site or an external service that will automatically send it to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. Yes, that is available.
Do we have that?
I think you do, yes.
You have it.
It's a business owner running his business wants to.
Yes, you have that, Gabe.
To follow up on that, is there a name for that?
There's
Service.
It depends on what kind of website you have. If you're working in a WordPress website, there are plugins that are friendly for sharing.
Right, the external service I use is a service called IFTTT, and that stands for if this, then that. And what it does is there are recipes, or there are automation recipes that you can select, so that if you have, for example, a WordPress site, you could say, anytime I publish a WordPress blog, automatically send it to Facebook. Anytime I publish a blog from Blogger, send it to Twitter. Yes, that's available, and that's a very cool service.
That's a service that you license?
No, it's a free service,
Free
actually.
service.
Yes. Hey, I work in
Everything's
small
free.
businesses. Free is in the budget, nothing else. Yes, sir.
I host sites on GoDaddy, and they have similar analytics, and they have all the plugins. You say, set me up, and it'll do all the connections.
Yeah.
That works, and it's good. GoDaddy's very good at that, but we still use Google Analytics because they know more than everybody, and if it's my business and it's my company, I don't want a third-party SEO or a third-party analytic company getting it wrong. I want to rely on the big green gorilla in the room and let them tell me what's going on.
Yes, Gabe.
The Yahoo websites or search engines, I understand that they're really coming up strong. Everybody's always looking at Google, but Yahoo, or some of the other ones, are a lot less expensive, and you can also get good traffic on there. What's your deal with that?
I'm actually, I think Google is the 800-pound gorilla of the internet. Anything that I do is I first check to see how I can optimize Google for it.
What was the question?
The question is, there are competing search engines like Yahoo and Bing, and that, some of those are less expensive, like if you're advertising. Well, I find most of my clients, when I do the analytics, 80% of their organic traffic comes from Google, and 20% comes from Bing and Yahoo and
Right.
other search
When
engines.
you look at your Google Analytics, it will tell you this many people came from Bing, this many people came from Yahoo, this many people came from Google. So the information's in there. And if you're saying a 20 or 30% spike coming from Yahoo, absolutely. If it's 2%, I don't know that it's going to help you.
Okay, we have one more question.
One more question? All done.
Okay, well, we have a speaker coming up at noon, and that's in 15 minutes, so thank you for attending.
Thank you.
Please give me the green sheet